Okay, so I took the flapper disc in our angle grinder, and what we did is we just kind of put a very slight bevel, taper, chamfer, whatever on the edge so that when it slides through, since the clearance is tight, it will hopefully not get bound as easily. Okay, so I need to, that was our our wood prototype. I need to make that happen with an angle grinder and cutoff wheel on that end, and then on this end I need to make that, which I bought some flat stock for. But the question is it worth cutting off 6 inches? You know, or should I just leave the whole thing, right? I mean, it's adjustable, right? If I really wanted it 6 inches short, I just make it stick out the back, as long as I don't, you know, kick my foot on it and put a hole in my foot. So I think I'm gonna leave that full length, and I think I'm gonna work on cutting that notch out of that end. All right. So we got that cut using cutoff saw and the angle grinder. All right, just checking for sharp edges. A little on the inside, I have to clean up with a file. Yeah. Okay, so you know that's how it's gonna look. Whoa! But you can see when looking from this side, this side got really narrow. Or short channel, that one's long. Huh. I must have, I don't know. I think this was my first cut. That looked pretty good. Something went awry on this one. Well, we'll see how it goes. If it doesn't work, I didn't cut off the other end, so I'll just cut this off and redo another one. Alright, let's see how this is gonna go. Alright, she came out the back side. Little push and shove. Yeah, so when I want to pull a tandem, a second one, there's my hitch. Oh, I got to drill a hole in there, huh? Yeah, I guess I got to drill a hole in the top to accept the pin. Alright. Alright, I opened up this hole using that kind of bit instead of a drill, because big drills without a drill press tend to catch and bind and make a mess, and I have to clean it up anyway, so I decided to use that. And I think it's 1/4 inch, about 1/4 inch, 3 foot by 1.5 inches wide, and the plan is to cut, I think it was going to be 7-inch, two 7-inches, which are going to be these pieces. I have to drill clearance hole for a pin and some bolt holes. Alright, so those are the part that gets bolted on the tongue. We're going to drill those. So here's a sliding tongue. This is the hitch part. I don't know. So I'm drilled 5/16 matching holes. I have to get the right size bolts. Those are just put in here. This is going to get clamped. And I drilled 7/16 hole, and this is a 3/8 bolt. And I think I'm going to weld, since now I can. And I like to put a chain, usually from here over to here. I put a chain so that the pin always stays with it. But when I go to take it out, I usually have to grab the chain and pull it, because there's nothing here to grab, or I have to push it from underneath. But now, since I can weld, I think I'm going to weld like a T on top, like that, and attach the chain over here perhaps. I'm not sure. So I definitely got to get some of those bolts, and I'll ponder overnight. I got bolts and chain, then we'll figure out how to make my T-handle. That's fun. Okay, so we bought some chain at Lowe's, and this is what it's going to look like. So it's heavier. I've used thinner gauge chain before, but it doesn't work. You know, a lot of times what I do is I like pick it up like this and drag, and chain, either the links are not welded, so they just open, or I have it attached to these on the bolts in here, and then these just pull apart, and that makes a mess. Sometimes I've bolted this right down to the pin, but that makes it too hard to lift up. So it's hard for me to lift. Like, you know, if this was like in here, right, somehow attached to here, like I can't lift the pin with my gloves on, right? So I either have to grab the chain somehow and lift up. So I think I'm going to weld this on the top, and then the chain is going to go like this with a nut on the end. So now I have a T-handle that I can grab and lift up, and it stays connected. I'm going to bolt that with a 1/4 Those are 5/16, and it's two bolts too big for the opening in the chain, so I'm going to put a 1/4, and then this is going to be a 1/4. These are some old bolts I had laying around. I'm going to weld that to the top to make a T-handle. Yeah, so I think that's my plan. And if it works, I have more chain. I do have to retrofit like two other carts and things, and add one to the dolly. So I kind of like this method. We'll see how it works. So here's a collection of bolts and screws. What those work, and then way over here we have another collection of old bolts and nuts and screws and whatever that come from other projects, and I like to use these whenever I need a random piece. Yeah, I like to make good use of my misfit hardware. Alright, here's a setup for welding. Kind of excited. I ground a little slot in there, and I ground all the rust off of there. And I don't know, can I just like let it sit there and hit it with the welder, just tack it? I don't know. Awesome! We'll try when I come back. I gotta go for a bit. Alright, we're going to try to weld 1/4 on top of a 5/16 bolt. The question is, what settings do we use? I guess, you know, the smallest is a 1/4 inch. So point, 250 times 2 is 500. Obviously I'm not doing 500 inches per minute. I think the max, I guess we can max it, is 275, and I think we usually use, I think it was like 18.8. Let's try that. Alright, this is our hitch part. We got 5/16 bolts. On the bottom I got stop nuts so they're not tightened up all the way. Got a 1/4 20 holding chain, and even with a gloved left hand, I can now easily get that in and out. I liked it. So I didn't tighten up because this has to get painted. I don't know what I'll paint. I don't think I'll paint the tubing. Maybe just the end here. I don't want to paint the part that goes in there because we don't have enough clearance. But I left this loose because I have to paint this up. And then next, I think, we'll work on the axles. Check this out. These are pieces from the old wheelbarrow. And just for shits and giggles, I think I'm going to try welding it. I didn't clean it off, so let's find out what happens when you don't clean off the metal. I just think we're going to practice, and we're probably going to turn the setting back down to whatever I used for like 0.1 stuff. Alright, let's have a look. That was awesome. What do you think? Yeah, wow. Gnarly at best.